Welcome to Session Sunday. Hi guys, it's Jack Edwards, and in today's video we're going to be taking a look at one-to-one defending drills. But before we get into this week's video, make sure to leave us a like and subscribe, and if you missed last week's video, click on the link above. Okay, so moving into the first part of this week's session, we're going to be focusing on getting goal side to head the ball clear. But before we get into it, let's have a look at the equipment that we're using this week and the setup for this part of the session. So in terms of equipment, okay, we're going to be focusing on using balls, cones and poles. Okay, so the poles are used for the player to reenact trying to get behind an attacker, so you can use mannequins as well. Also, if you don't have a goal available, you can then use the poles to create a goal as well. So if you do have access to that and you don't have access to a goal, that's what you can use instead. And then in terms of the setup for this part of the session, okay, the maximum you want to go to is just 10 yards. Okay, so 10 yards of depth, 10 yards of width, and then the central pole in here. You can even go in 6 and 8 yards as well, because it is quite an intense drill, so there's no real rest for the players. As soon as they've headed the ball, they're going to the next pole or the next cone, okay, to move. So you can start off by maybe going to 6 yards, and then if you think it's a little bit too easy for the player, if they're a little bit older, you can increase the size of the area. So what we're focusing on here is different type of movements, okay, to retain goal side and then head the ball clear. So what you're going to do is you're going to number each corner, each one of the poles in the corner. Okay, so if we go 1, 2, 3 and 4. So if the player moves to either number 1 or number 2, they're just stepping in, touching the pole, and then backpedaling back beyond, okay, to get goal side. As they get goal side, the coach is going to throw the ball up, the player's going to look to head it clear. So they don't have to head the ball back to the coach, we're looking to get height and distance, okay, so making sure we're powering through with our headers, okay, to get the ball clear. So we can go anywhere, we're just looking for a good direction as well. Same for number 2, in, to step in, slow down, to then move back. When we're stepping in, okay, and we're approaching the pole, we want the players to get themselves low, okay, so bend the nose, knees, low body position, touching, and then our angle to move backwards, not going back straight up, okay, making sure that we turn the body, okay, to be able to see the ball, okay, move to the direction that we want, but then if the play transitioned and moved across, okay, we can do that as well. If we say 3 or 4, the player moves outside of the cone, okay, to come round, to then move back inside, and then as they're coming back towards the pole, okay, that's when the coach is going to throw it up so that they can attack the ball, okay, so getting above the attacker to win the ball, so heading that clear, so you can get a bit more momentum and a bit more power on those headers, whereas when they're moving to 1 or 2, it's about stepping in and getting back to clear it, okay, so then number 4 is the same, back round, okay, player gets in, gets thrown up and they head away. In terms of repetitions, okay, you want to do between 6 and 8 for each set. For the first go, to let the players get used to obviously the numbers and where they're moving to, in the first 4 goes, it might be best to do it in order. So we go number 1, then number 2, then number 3, then number 4, and then you can look to randomise it more. So you could do number 4. As soon as they've done number 4, go to number 1, so they're in back round. Then it could be number 2, then it could be number 3. So the players have got to react. So it's being nice and light on the feet, okay? Being aware of the surroundings, okay? Make sure they're scanning the shoulders, and then that technique to head the ball clear. We will now move into our first animation before moving on to part 2 of this week's session. Now moving into part 2 of this week's session, we're now focusing on our movement, okay, and footwork to then block the ball. So we're focusing on quick movement of our feet, okay, so moving out to one side, moving back, so it's being able to react quickly to then get ourselves back in and clear the ball. So in terms of the setup for this part of the session, okay, we're just looking, so if you do have a goal now, it's going to be quite important. If you don't, you can just use poles. So the player's going to start in line with the central of the goal, and these cones in here are literally just going to be 1 yard apart, all right? So the setup, you're not going to start it too far away, okay? So you're going to look to start it between 6 and 10 yards away from the goal, okay? So the player's just looking to recover and get back and clear. So the movement is, so the player will move, it can move right or left to start, doesn't matter. So all it is the outside foot moves out, that's all. So it'll be right foot out, and then lead with the left when they come back in. So it's going right foot, and then it's going to be left, right, and then out with the left. Okay, so it's only in the middle that both feet come in. So it's quick, nice quick feet. So we're pumping the arms, moving the feet. So we're going right, left, and then right, left, right. Okay, so literally we're leading with the foot. So it's going out, back in quickly, 2 feet, out, back in quickly with 2 feet, out. So what they're trying to do is once they get confidence and start moving quicker, they can start to get the head up more. So it's just a little glance to the floor, getting themselves back up. And then the coach will say a pole or a cone to move to. So 1 or 2, whichever one that they say to move to, the player then looks to shuffle around the front. Okay, so making sure that they can still see the ball, back towards goals, putting on an angle, and then the coach will either throw it up for the player to head clear or look to drive a ball in for them to block away from goal. So the main thing is we're trying to clear the ball away from the goal. If it comes back into central areas, the coach can look to hit it again. Okay, so they're not clearing the lines. Okay, it's putting it back into a dangerous area so the ball can come back in. So looking to get the ball clear. Okay, so when it comes in here, either heading it away, okay, or clearing the ball away so that the coach doesn't have a chance of scoring. So again, that footwork. So if we go from the opposite side, left, right, and then back on the other side, left, right, left. So basically, it's literally the outside foot each time will lead, and then again, once the coach says a number, shuffle around, shuffle back towards goal, give them time to get into the goal mouth area, and then look to play the ball for the player to clear. We will now move into our next animation before moving on to the final part of this week's session. Okay, now moving into the final part of this week's session, we're now focusing on playing out, okay, so out of pressure to then transition and block the cross. In terms of the setup for this part of the session, okay, so from where the goal line is to where these 2 cones are here, you're looking around 8 yards out, okay, so again, you can change that, okay, based on if you think the player needs a bit more space, but you don't want to be too far away from goal when blocking the cross, because when the player comes round, we'll look for them to be blocking the cross in around the 6-yard box. And then from where this cone is here, to in there, we're going for around about an extra 5 yards, okay? So how it's going to work is the player's going to move down to here, come through to intercept, okay? So that's going to be in the air, so it's thrown in, play back into the coach, okay? And then we're transitioning to come in front of the cone, backpedaling to create space to receive the ball. So we're going to open out, okay? And then play forward into a gate. It can either be, like I say, with poles or cones, or if you'd have another small sided goal. As soon as the player's done that, coach gets another ball and puts themselves in a position to cross. So they could do an in-swinging cross, okay, it could be a left-footed in-swinging cross, or they could take it down the line and cross across the box. The player looks to backpedal around this cone here. As they come round, the ball's going to get played in, and they're looking to cross the ball, the coach, and then they're looking to clear. So again, try and get it away from pressure, okay, get it away from areas, but making sure that when they come round, okay, if the ball steps in, that the light's on the feet, okay, the body position is able to see the ball, and then if a player is moving in, they're able to spot that run, not just being focused on the ball, having that open body to be able to react and clear the ball. Player then comes back in and repeats. You could do 2 reps working off this way as well, and then 2 reps going the opposite way, so doing left foot passes, right foot blocks, and then the opposite way as well. So the player moves down again, moves in short, intercepts. So it's important, push through that ball, push through with the contact, okay? Comes round, there we go, play forward, good first touch, good pass out of pressure. As soon as they come round, coach looks to deliver a ball, player looks to move in and clear it, okay? So in terms of repetitions, it obviously depends how many footballs you've got as well, but you want to go around 4 reps each set, okay? So 4 passes, 4 blocks, okay? You can go to 5 or 6 if you wanted to as well, but it is quite intense, so it is quite tough on the players. So you could do a certain amount of smaller reps, where you could do, let's say 2 reps of 4, and then you could look maybe to increase for another set, where you could do one rep of 5 and 1 set of 6, okay? So depending on how many times you want to do it, okay, and obviously with it being the final part of the session, how much energy the player's got, but try and go from both sides as well, so the players are getting used to obviously passing with the left foot, clearing with the left foot, blocking with the right foot as well, and passing with the right foot as well. We will now move into our final animation before concluding this week's session. Thanks for watching this week's video. Don't forget to head over to our website where you can sign up to view all of our exclusive content. And we'll see you next week for another Session Sunday.